Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we are almost done implementing this variable pause. So we have our delegate methods coming in over here, and I'm actually going to move this up above this line because delegate methods for variable pause start here. Okay. Now I do know that Unity caches the get component calls these days, so I'm not sure if this is going to be a problem calling this every frame or not. I don't think it will be. But let's find out. So we need to find the name input field. So that would be just finding the company name field. So here's my question. Should we just have a couple of generic variables up here? Like, for example, it would be private mono behavior trigger field. Something kind of like that? And it'd just be super generic. Or actually probably not a mono behavior, private game object. So the trigger field. And then we would only do this if method equals null. So if method equals null, then we do our setup. So then our input field would be trigger field equals game object.find. And for right now, we're just going to do it by name. And this is going to be company name field. Okay. And then check to see if it's changed from the default. And if it has changed from the default, then we do this over here. So the default here is just nothing in the text. Right here. So we've got our text area, and then we've got our text. Okay. So then we would need to grab the child of the child, but the second child of the child. But if we change that around... Can we search just the children, is my question. Trigger field equals, for right now, we're going to find the company name field here, and then can we say trigger field equals trigger field dot, and then find in hierarchy? Maybe just transform. Because I don't really want to hard code this. I'm trying to find a way to search just the hierarchy of this particular object with a string. There doesn't seem to be a way to do this. Because text is a super generic name. We could name this simply company name text and make it less generic. That's one way we could do this. So find company name text, and then we would do something along the lines of if trigger field dot get component, and this would be tmpro dot textmesh pro UGUI dot text is not equal to nothing. Return true, although we can't actually return, obviously. So should unpause equals true. else should unpause equals false. Okay. So this isn't the most efficient way to do this because we're going to be calling this get component every frame. I think it caches it these days though, so I think it's less of a bad thing, and we'll just see if this works, is the idea. So theoretically, the moment that changes, this should then pop back up, is the idea. Although, I think we are not currently checking the should unpause in the advisor script. So in the update method, we call method, and then if, and this would be elements current index dot should unpause. So if we should unpause, then awaiting delegate equals false. And then at this point, we would call on advanced script. However, we would also need to re-enable the window, correct? I believe .on begin pause .invoke, and that would come over to here and would call this, which would then set it up, and then run the check every frame-ish. It would run every frame. And then we're actually not disabling this here. So, actually, we don't want to set this game object active to false. That would disable all of our scripts. We just want to set this .set active. Or rather, this .enabled. Except this is just a boolean, not a function, so this .enabled equals false. Okay, there's that fixed. And then all we need to do is here we need to disable the window. So we can go ahead and say advisor window dot game object dot set active false. And then up here, when we bring this back, we should do advisor window dot game object dot set active true. Like that. Is it done? I think it's done. I think we need to test now. Let's find out. Welcome to your new logistics company, and it did indeed change the image. The first thing you should probably do is name your company. You can do this by typing in the box in the upper left-hand corner. After clicking next, try this. It didn't pause. Why did it not pause? Oh, because this is starting with already paused on in the prefab. Okay, there we go. Now it should work. Maybe. We'll find out. Welcome to your new logistics company, blah blah blah. Oh. It's setting it in the prefab. Why is it setting it in the prefab? And not already paused. Then it sets it to already paused, and it should hide the window, and then it should return. I must be setting the already paused somewhere else. No? Okay. Well, let's just check here. We run this, and then if I don't click next, it does not set it in the prefab. And then I click there. already paused is checked. Now, I wish it was doing this in the instance, not in the prefab, because it doesn't seem to reset this, and that's a problem. I mean, we're not instantiating it, so there's that. I think we're just using the prefabs here, which is kinda spooky. Don't really want that to be the case. I assumed that that would automatically create an instance for me. Does not appear to be the case, for sure. And then the question here is this actually just not equal to nothing? The text here? So let's actually... I just had a thought. We can set it here. Maybe. If it's not equal to nothing, should unpause equals true, else should unpause equals false. Okay, so it's grabbing this, for sure. And then it's coming here. Okay. And then the other thing is, I really don't like this being the case. So let's actually remove already paused from the advisor script element. And let's do over here and not already paused. So let's go ahead and do a private bool already paused equals false here. And then down here, already paused equals true. And then when we resume here, already paused equals false, but after we do on advanced script. Like that. So that way we're not changing it in the prefab, because I really don't like doing that. Okay. Let's go. Hopefully this will work now. Next. Nope. Unfortunate. Sad. There we go. So, the question then is, why is this not correctly triggering here? Should unpause is defaulting to false. And then here, when we set up, we should also say should unpause equals false, just to make sure that we're not, you know, having any other issues there. We are calling on unpause on changing name. Okay. We're not pausing on that one. The only thing I can think of is that this is not returning true. Let's go ahead and say something along the lines of... Let's just debug.log, and I want to log this. Okay, this isn't the most efficient thing, but I want to know exactly what it's seeing. So let's just find out. So it shouldn't output anything at all up until we click next, and then it should output one thing. Theoretically. And it's just outputting nothing. Okay. So what if we were to do that? So the placeholder is there. And then hypothetically... Okay. So that obviously should return great job. We'll put this in here. Oh, that automatically that automatically goes away due to the placeholder. I wonder. Maybe we should be checking the placeholder here. So instead of company name text, if we were to get company name placeholder and check to see that it's not equal to default company name. I'm not sure if the placeholder disables or if it completely goes away. But let's not maximize on play. And then let's check this here. So it's currently default company name. Field input caret. Okay. And then the placeholder is actually just disabled once you've put something in. So if instead we did .enabled, and then if we said if it's not enabled, then we should unpause, because clearly they put something in. But if it is enabled, then they didn't actually put anything in. Like, they may have clicked up here, put something in, deleted it, and then, like, for example, A, and then deleted it. Great job! You successfully... Oh boy. So, I mean, it works. But it's going to pop back up as soon as you type one thing, apparently. Which tells me that we should put in a listener instead here. Instead of doing it this way. We should probably say trigger field dot on, actually, dot get component tmpro dot textmesh pro UGUI dot on, and instead of textmesh pro UGUI, it would be tmpro dot something about an input field dot on end edit dot add listener. Okay. So when we end the edit, we would then call unpause on changing name. So we would then move this up over here. And then we would simply return here. And then it would automatically call it like that. And then we would just say, if you're called again, it's simply should unpause equals true. And then this would be what, a delegate? Hang on, I've forgotten the syntax. We used it here when we add a listener here. Void advisor script dot on reverse script. We don't need this to be virtual anymore, that's for sure. Cannot convert from method group. Wait, why can't we convert from method group to Unity action string? Why is it trying to get a string in here? Unpause on changing name? Yeah, Unity action of string. So we would need like a new Unity action. unpause on changing name. Method name expected. This is a method name. I'm grabbing it right here. I'm literally pasting it in. I don't know why it's expecting a Unity action string method name. That's weird. Why is it not working the same way the buttons did? Like, seriously. OnClick.addListener on reverse script, on advanced script, on end script. So much easier. Those are public voids, same as this. Maybe it's just upset because we're calling it from within the same function? So, in that case, we would do something along the lines of a delegate here should unpause equals true. That compiles. Okay. I guess that'll work. So when we on-end edit, then it'll just say should unpause equals true. So in that case, if we're doing it this way via a listener, then we do not need to be calling method in advisor script up here. All we need to do is check the should unpause, because we're just invoking it down here, and then that'll automatically set it up. And theoretically, we also don't need to be setting the method, but I think we'll leave it the way it is. Let's just see if that works. It should. And we should be able to set up a fair number of these delegates as well. So, I do want this maximized on play. I'm sorry, can't read anything with it that small. Okay, so we should name our company. Object reference not set to instance of object. It does not have a trigger field. Oh, of course, because we don't have the input field on the placeholder. That's why. So we need to be grabbing the company name field, not the placeholder. So company name field. And realistically, this trigger field is kind of unnecessary now. So we can just go ahead and say something along the lines of GameObject_go equals GameObject.findCompanyNameField.getComponent blah 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 blah. And actually, we don't even need to have a variable here, technically. We can just add a listener there. And then we would do something along the lines of, we'll need to remove that listener, right? So we'll need to do an else. And then we can't really remove all listeners because we have another listener there. That returns a void. That's awkward. So the way this is set up right now, this is going to always unpause every time we change the name, no matter what, because this listener will always still be there. So how do we get a reference to this listener if that doesn't return anything? So we would then do something along the lines of GameObject.find blah 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 on endEdit.remove listener. But we don't want to remove all listeners because in our business, we have a second listener on that field, right? So, actually on change business name. So yeah, we have another listener on that field that we assigned via the inspector. So we can't necessarily just remove all. That's not going to be effective. So we do this is just a Unity action string. So why doesn't this return a string? How am I supposed to know what listener I have here? How do I get a reference to that listener? Let me think here. I'm looking it up here. Blah, 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 blah. That's all really basic stuff. Add listener, then later remove it. So how do we... events.unity action call. So it gives us a callback function. So could we do like Unity action event equals? Actually, just Unity action e equals. We would need events.unity action. Okay. Using Unity engine.events. Okay, so that doesn't give us a return, of course. Oops, I do not want to do that. I want to reaffix this here. There we go. Because on add listener doesn't return the listener that it adds. So can we just... I wonder if it's as simple as just removing delegate should unpause equals true? Is it really that simple? Well, it compiled. And that would also mean that we would need to re-invoke our elements current index dot on begin pause. So we need to re-invoke that, or just call on like a separate on end pause, which might be better. So let's go into here and let's do public void on end pause. And for right now, I'm just going to do on begin pause dot invoke. And then this would be on end pause. So we can do that differently later on, but for right now, that should theoretically work. Okay. Let's see if this works. Next, it goes away. And then we come up here, and then we type in Atraitus Incorporated. Great job! You successfully named your company. You can change this at any time in the future, if you so choose. Fantastic. That seems to be working. And with this system, we can create ourselves some pretty complex things, actually. It's not calling it every frame, which is nice. It just sets up a listener. And in here, we just call the same method for right now. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good way to do this, all things considered. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we will be diving into making this tutorial a little more robust and programming some actual gameplay into this so that we actually have some things that we can do in it. And that will be great. See you all then.